Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. It's running the world on smarter energy. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
Well, hello. Welcome to another edition of the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast. Regular viewers will note that there are two of us on this call, not three. My co-host, Peter Zollman of the AIM Group, the publishers of the Recruitment Intelligence Report and the organizers of the RecBuzz conferences. Peter is traveling today. I'm not going to take any personal offense, although
I will.
Will you? Yeah. He said, who's our guest today? And I said, it's Nick Cosgrove, of Upwork, formerly of ZipRecruiter. And he said, oh, Nick, no way do I want to be part of that. So I guess I get stuck with you.
Yeah, it's tough, but I think we'll make it through this, Stephen.
Peter Piper picked a day to travel, and anyway, so Nick and I have known each other for a few years. We met when he was at ZipRecruiter. I think it was like COVID time. My wife Faith Rothberg, who's also the CEO of College Recruiter, the company that I work for, she and I were fortunate enough to be on a road trip. And Nick and his family live in Ohio. And we were driving basically through, and we had a really fun lunch. Fun for us, maybe fun for Nick, maybe not. Maybe it was just one of those things that you have to do for your employer.
Oh no, it was a good time, and our son was just a newborn too. So I think that was like the first time we took him out to a restaurant, and he was great. He was like asleep the whole time. So.
Oh yeah, he was way better behaved than any of the adults were. That's for sure. Although that's a fairly low bar. So, Nick, before we get into the meat of the conversation, I know we're going to be talking a lot about partnerships. That's been kind of like your area, but maybe you can tell the viewers a little bit about your background, including pre-job board and teaching and all that kind of stuff, and then a little bit about what you did at ZipRecruiter and now what you do at Upwork.
Yeah, I think just like a lot of folks that you talk to have got kind of an odd background. It's super non-traditional for the recruiting and in HR tech space, but I started as a chemist working for Sandia National Labs, like while I was working on my master's degree. And so that was very exciting, kind of gave me this nice little scientific method approach to how I do partnerships and the data and analytics side of things, right? And then, I did some corporate sales and cold called a lot. About 150 dials a day was the expectation in my first sales job after that. So went from science to sales, go figure. And after that, I decided, I'm going to start my own company. I did that for a minute, didn't do very well for a few reasons I won't share today. And then I taught high school for 2 years. So I taught high school chemistry, and I used my sales skills there because we had the largest enrollment in AP chemistry in our entire district's history.
Oh, so, cool.
Got to teach a lot, and classroom management kind of helped me in the corporate world.
Herding cats.
Yes, very helpful. It's surprising how much adults and teenagers are very similar. You can almost see the teenager and the adult as you're speaking with them. But, later after that, I decided, I'm going back to the corporate world. I was an SDR at ZipRecruiter. I was one of our first SDRs. The other SDR was named Nick as well. So it was Nick and Nick booking all the meetings. And then had an SDR team. And then I became just the sole partnerships guy after COVID. And after that, just closed a lot of very interesting partnerships, worked actually sold a white label job board software because we had no one else who sold that. It was called jobboard.io, founded by Christian Malpelli, who's a very cool guy. And after that, I decided, you know what, I'm going to try and work at a different marketplace. And so now I'm in partnerships at Upwork.
Cool. And for the viewers who don't understand the timing, I think it is important just a little bit of context. So so when part of the time when Nick was at ZipRecruiter, it was definitely very much talked about outside of ZipRecruiter. I don't think it was doing much talking about going public.
Yeah.
And right. And so the speculation amongst observers were they're doing really well. They've grown really fast. They definitely seem to be heading toward an IPO. And then this pandemic hit. And then I think it was roughly a year later when they ended up going public. So that you were definitely there during a tumultuous time.
Oh yeah, there was we had a team. We had scaled a team of like 50 SDRs at one point, and then there was a 35% reduction in staff before prior to the IPO. And so then it was like the entire staff that reported to me was gone, and then I was there and doing everyone's job at once. Not 50 people, it's more like 16, but it was there was a lot going on. It was interesting to learn about all of the steps that a company needs to take in order to go public, and sort of the everything that you need to think about and be quiet about.
Yeah, right. And so discretion is definitely something that you must be good at because it's definitely a big issue. So Jobboard.io a minute ago, and I know some people in the industry, including me until recently, called it Jobboard.io. But Jobboard.io, I guess, sounds like that is the preferred name.
There's like Jobio out there, and so there's all these. Every job board name, they run out of names, and so they all kind of run into one another, and nobody knows who. JobbyQ is another one, right?
Right, and some of them are some of them I think are I know that at least a couple of them are deliberately confusing. So I interviewed the CEO of Jubal, and Jubal, a big Ukrainian-based global aggregator. They took their name from Google. They wanted to be Google for jobs, and so they named themselves Jubal. And now there's also a Jobble, also Ukrainian-based. So it's like one letter different organization, but the same industry, the same. So anyway, Jobboard.io. I remember when Zip made. My impression of that was sort of to create like a private network for job distribution where they can go to sites that didn't have a job board or that maybe had rudimentary job board software and say, hey, we can give your users, the candidates, a great experience populated by ZipRecruiter jobs. We'll send you a check once a month. Everybody's happy. Is that?
Have you ever wondered what really makes a generation tick? Who gets to pick the name? And why the slang keeps changing? Don't worry, I can help. My name's Dr. Megan Grace. On #Gen Z, I share the voices and experiences of Generation Z, how they're different from other generations, what moves them, and why they do what they do. In each episode, we go beyond the buzzwords and the stereotypes to dive into real conversations and the insights that matter to making intergenerational collaboration a reality. You can catch #Gen Z on the Work to Find podcast network and wherever you listen to podcasts.
Kind of what that product was about?
That was one of the strategic advantages, right? Is that you can expand your distribution network of jobs by onboarding new clients who run a large publishing company, who are in the public sector and trying to do good, associations as well, right? It's like the difficulty in running this large programmatic model is that when you want to kind of dive into a specific category, you need to have a publisher who serves that category, because a lot of the places that you go and buy traffic at scale are like very general and are all about high volume hiring, right? So if you're talking about the big players who all buy from one another, the traffic that they really, the candidates that they really attract a lot of the time that they serve very, very well are folks that work in high turnover, high volume situations, which you know a lot about. Right? You host a podcast for that. And so if you really want to improve your value proposition for employers who are looking for roles that aren't high volume, right? Roles that that require a high level of skill or certification or degree, whatever it might be. Or, there's other categories too, like diversity, right?
Yeah.
You need to partner with those niche job boards. And so acquiring a job board software that already had those niche job boards on there and gave you the ability to go and partner out in the industry was rather interesting.
Yeah. Awesome strategy. And the folks that founded and run Zip are just really, really smart and able to really see things like 3 miles down the road where everybody else is kind of tripping over their own feet. Talk to me, if you will, about your role at Upwork. What does a partnership look like at Upwork? Because it's definitely, like you were saying, it's a recruitment marketplace. It's not like a job board, right? You're not looking as a candidate, you're not looking at a job posting ad for, Apple or Taco Bell or whatever and applying to it.
Not
It's
ads.
right. It's a gig platform.
Well, it's a work marketplace is what it is, right? And so we are a marketplace first, right? We're a technology company, but we happen to serve millions of freelancers and agencies of freelancers in 180 different countries. And the purpose of what we do is to go and drive them more business, or at least that's why I'm on board in partnerships. And so I decided to take this role because of my pattern of like wanting to solve really hard problems, I guess. And I like small business owners, right? I think it's very fascinating to be able to help small businesses succeed. My wife is a small business owner. She's an artist. We just did an art fair this weekend. It was very fun seeing her find new customers and all of those things. So, ultimately what I want to do in partnerships is drive more customers to our freelancers in whatever category they serve, whether it's marketing or web mobile software development, or if it's design, right? We cover any category that essentially you can do work from a desk. And so we're building partnerships from the ground up. And so I don't have announcements to make yet about like what our partnership program exactly is, but you might get a cold call from me. Saying, hey, I want to talk to you about partnerships. I have some problems that I want to solve. I mean, job boards are definitely interesting, but that's not the only place that we can drive demand. So, there's, any company that requires sort of services for their customers, we have experts that that might specialize in that platform and can help those customers succeed. And so it's sort of this mutually beneficial relationship. But ultimately, in the end of the day, the goal is we drive more business for our freelancers, right? And we take like the lowest take rate in the industry when it comes to any sort of like upside. You don't pay to post a job on Upwork. So that's the biggest difference is we're not an advertising platform.
Yeah.
So, but you pay for the work to be done and all the work is done on Upwork. So it's a very complex in that it's not this advertisement and then we're done, right? After somebody clicks or applies, it's like the work actually happens. And so there's a lot more that goes into that, which I just think is very, very fascinating.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's about putting employers together with the people they're going to do the work. Yeah. But the legal aspect of it, the fact that it's, I think, all project based, short term, right? It might be an hour, it might be 3 weeks, but it's not indefinite, forever, full time, like a job board kind of role. So I was reading between the lines of what you were saying. So a couple things. First of all, it does sound like I'm going to be getting a call at some point, hopefully sooner than later, about how Upwork and College Recruiter can partner. So awesome. Great.
Yeah, I would love to have that conversation.
That for sure. And it sounds like the focus is on, let's call it the employer side, like bringing in the organizations that want to hire freelancers through Upwork. Is that?
Well, that's my job. Right.
Okay.
We have other focuses as well on the partnerships and business development team when it comes to, helping freelancers with their reputation. Right. So when it comes to certifications and helping them basically present themselves so that they will earn more business when the business is in front of them. So that's a really important part of what we do as well. But freelancers are different than job seekers, I think, because I'm generalizing here, but a lot of the time their mindset is they're this business owner. They deserve these flexible hours. they've gone out and they know how to serve clients in a standalone space, right? Where like they're not sort of getting direction from a boss, it's a project. So it's interesting also how like job descriptions differ on a job board versus a freelance marketplace, because on a job board it's like, hey, come join our team, we're this rocket ship, we're gonna, we're a family, and we're gonna help you with your career progression.
No, you aren't. No employer is a family. Well,
Right,
a family-owned
exactly.
business where they're only employing family, then yes, and that's also guaranteed to be dysfunctional. It's another conversation for another day. But yeah, if you go work for a Fortune 1000 company and they tell you they're a family, they are lying to you.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you. But a freelancer job post is just like, hey, here's the project, here are the deliverables, here's the time frame. Can you do it?
Yeah. And when we use Upwork, it's very objective. Like, this is what you need to do. You did, you get paid, you get a bonus, the rest of it. So, Nick, thank you so much. This has been awesome. People should reach out to you via LinkedIn if they're looking to potentially be a partner of Upwork.
Yeah, absolutely. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's the best place to find me.
Cool. Great to see you. And I am going to hold you to that call.
Okay, absolutely. Stephen, it was a pleasure. Thanks for the time.
Cheers, man.